82. That gives me 10 years. Tell me what my Medicare is going to be between now and 82 years of age. Will I get the same treatment, the same doctors, the same everything, or is it going to disappear? So far, I have not gotten an answer.
It's gone.
And what says now is not 500 billion, it's up to 818 billion they're going to take out of Medicare. And what makes me wonder is all you people that are probably in my same age group, you ought to be raising hell here in Green Valley.
It's amazing. That healthcare bill was really an amazing piece of work. They cut $500 billion for Medicare. It's up to $800 billion. Obviously, that's including $200+ billion for Medicare Advantage. What they're doing is doctors were already making 20% less than market value for Medicare. So fewer and fewer doctors were taking it. Well, now when you pay them even less, it's just going to decrease access to care. That's all. Because they're going to stop taking it. 50% of them don't take Medicaid because it pays out 50% less than market value. If they can't make anything on it, they're not going to take it. And only the government would convince you that cutting $500 billion was going to increase your quality of care. That's what she said. Oh, and by the way, our congressional representative, one second, sir, stood in front of the people of this district and said she would not vote for a health care bill that did not contain tort reform, and then went back and voted for a health care bill that did not contain tort reform. Do you think it's time we hold these people accountable for this kind of lying behavior?
That's a tough act to follow.
Yes, sir.
With respect to the illegal immigration, I'm with you 100%. The double fence is a great idea. I think we need to clamp down on employing illegals, and they need to come up with a program to allow improved immigration so that these people can come here and work legally.
Mm-hmm.
And I think number one, the fence first, because we've always had these stories about amnesty, and we're going to have amnesty and then we're going to fix everything. Well, they have the amnesty and they never fix everything. But one of the points in one of the brochures here is that you're for the fence, I'm for the fence, and you're against amnesty, and I'm against amnesty per se, but what do we do with this 12 to 20 million people?
It's a great question.
We can load them on a bus and ship them out. I don't know.
It is a great question. Now, I am fine with when, like laws like SB 1070, which used to be the law, period. When lawful contact has been made and someone is found to be here illegally, yes, they're returned to their country of citizenship. I'm even fine with things like Sheriff Joe does up there. I'm fine with illegal immigration raids. We're raiding lawbreakers. You know, that's employers and those here illegally. But more than anything else, when you talk about 12 to 20 million, you're right, law enforcement doesn't have the resources or the time to focus on that. That's why the employer sanctions are such an important part of it, and the cutoff of federal benefits, like $500 a month in federal rent subsidy and these kind of things. When you can't put food on your table, you return back to your country of citizenship. When they enforced the I-9s in the mid-'80s, there were literally flocks of people heading south. The Border Patrol guys tell you about it. That is the best solution for getting that volume of people back to their country of citizenship and then come here the right way. No, I can tell by the t-shirt.
You're right. You probably know that Truman at war in 1947 shipped back 6,000
Yes.
Eisenhower shipped back 12,000. I would like to ship them all back. I've been voting for 60 years.
Just, no, 5%.
Well, you can say that 535
Just,
535 elected officials that we've been listening to ever since we've been old enough. And those 435 people, besides all the bills for us, for 300 billion wrong with that picture?
Well, here's what's wrong with that picture. You talked about 435 members of the House, 100 senators, which makes 535. Is the problem with the 535 or with the 300 million that's Senate? We live in a representative republic. We sent these people there. Benjamin Franklin, when asked what kind of government, he said, "It's a republic, ma'am, if you can keep it." We are the holders of it, and we have to accept responsibility for what we have. And I accept as much as anybody else. Obviously, I didn't elect Barack Obama, didn't vote for Barack Obama or Gabrielle Giffords, but I didn't do near enough to make sure they did not get elected. Not near enough. Sitting on the couch yelling at TV and then going to pull the lever on election day doesn't count as political activism. And you know what else? And you all know that I'm a big Tea Party guy. I'm at all of them. I'll be at the big one this Saturday. Tea parties are great. You know what? Going to a Tea Party doesn't count as political activism either. What are you doing to make sure we win specific elections? That's what wins elections. We did this. We did it. And we can undo it. That is the beauty of it. We have the power in this country. We have been blessed by God to live in a country where we get the government we deserve. We really do. And I know that's a horrible deal, but you're right. 300 million Americans are against deficits. Why do we have deficits? 300 million Americans want taxes low. Why are taxes high? Because we don't care enough to do something about it. We are a 70-30 country. 70% of this country believe in the Constitution and limited government and these other things. 30% are the liberals who believe that government should run everything in your life, including your health care. And they own the House, Senate, and presidency. How did that happen? Because while we were minding our own business, they were being active. They were taking over. The government has grown for 80 years in this country under Republicans and Democrats because we've not been active enough. And again, I indict myself as much as anyone else. I'm not pointing fingers here. This is my fault. This November 2nd, and obviously it'll be a little different because I'm a candidate, I promise you I will not sit there on November 2nd, whatever the results across this country in this district, and say, hey, I probably could have done a lot more. I'm leaving it all on the field now, baby. So we'll see what happens.
Jesse, I know that early on in the primaries concerning the Afghanistan war, you basically were kick butt, take names later, come home victorious. Looking at where we are, looking at where we are now in Afghanistan, kind of a little bit of a muddled mess. It's, in my view, Obama's gotten us into, or messed up. What do you see as the end game? I mean, to me, we're just spending billions of dollars chasing ants around the desert. What's the end? Would a surge type situation work? What's the end game for you?
Well, here's Afghanistan. We're going to take a few minutes on this one because we have what we should be doing and we have what we are doing. And so as a result, it's hard to say where we go. I believe we must win in Afghanistan. Let's not lose sight of the fact that 3 million innocent Americans were murdered by an attack that was planned and implemented from Afghanistan, and that is still a terrorist stronghold. We just killed the number 3 man in Al-Qaeda in Afghanistan. Someone just parked, a Taliban guy just parked a truck full of explosives in Times Square from Afghanistan. So we can't lose sight of that. It's a war we must win. It's a war we can win. It's a war we are not winning. We are fighting it halfway. The general asked for 40,000 troops, he gets 30,000 troops. Our troops are out there. We have the best troops in the world, by the way, and that's not just bluster. I fought in the Marine Corps infantry. I trained with all kinds of troops from all kinds of places, and you hear these guys are tough, and oh, their equipment's nice. We are elite, and I mean, we are better than everybody else. Much better than everybody else. We can win this if we just untie their hands. We send these young men and women over there to the war. We drop them in a combat zone with an enemy that's 100% committed to winning, and we tell them you can't fire until fire is on. You can't engage at night, you can't call for close air support, and anyone who's ever served a day in the infantry knows without close air support, you are practically naked. It is your lifeline. 4 Marines just recently died because they called for close air support and were met with a radio frequency that said, sorry, you're too close to a village. 4 Marines died that day. 4 mothers' wives got flags instead of sons home. So that's